When you think of Malaysia, you picture rainforests teeming with life and mighty rivers snaking through the landscape. A land blessed with abundant natural resources, it's hard to imagine any scarcity. So why has Johor, a state practically overflowing with water resources, been buying treated water from resource-poor Singapore for decades? It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? It's one of Southeast Asia's strangest ironies, a real head-scratcher in a region known for its complex relationships. The land with rivers, seemingly endless sources of fresh water, depends on the island with almost none. A tiny island nation has managed to become a crucial provider. Johor has the raw water, the untapped potential flowing through its rivers and streams. But Singapore has the expertise, the technology, and the infrastructure to turn that raw water into safe, drinkable water, a precious commodity in a densely populated urban environment. For years, it was simply easier and more cost-effective for Johor to let Singapore handle the complex and expensive treatment process, then buy it back, a convenient solution that seemed to benefit both parties involved. This created a bizarre dynamic, a situation ripe with potential for political and economic complexities. The resource-rich state relying on its smaller neighbor, not for luxury goods or advanced technology, but for a basic necessity: clean, potable water. Singapore, driven by necessity, mastered water treatment, pushing the boundaries of innovation, building world-class plants, investing in cutting-edge technologies, and creating a reliable supply system that could withstand the test of time. Malaysia sold raw water cheap, at rates established long ago, and Singapore sold treated water back, also cheap, according to the terms of the agreements. But the arrangement has always been politically sensitive, a constant source of debate and negotiation between the two nations. For Singapore, the deal was about survival, ensuring a stable water supply for its citizens and its economy. For Malaysia, at least initially, it was about convenience, a practical solution to a complex problem. Until national pride and economics got tangled up, creating a potent mix of political and social pressures. Now, as both countries have grown and their needs have evolved, the old arrangement is under intense scrutiny, with calls for change growing louder. Malaysia is starting to question whether it should keep buying its chocolate bars from Singapore, a metaphor for a finished product derived from its own resources, or start investing in its own infrastructure and expertise, and start making its own. The answer to that question could fundamentally reshape the relationship between these two neighbors, impacting trade, diplomacy, and regional stability. Singapore's remarkable efficiency has long masked Malaysia's dependence, but with growing awareness and changing priorities, that dynamic is rapidly changing. The water deal, once a simple trade agreement, is now a powerful symbol of sovereignty, national pride, and the pursuit of self-reliance. Malaysia is increasingly eyeing a future where it controls its own water destiny, managing its resources and ensuring its own water security. And that shift in perspective, that pursuit of water independence, could change everything, altering the geopolitical landscape of Southeast Asia. To truly understand this complex water saga between Singapore and Malaysia, we need to delve into the past. It's a story of agreements, dependencies, and evolving perspectives that have shaped the region's water politics for decades. You have to go back nearly a century to the foundations upon which these agreements were built. The historical context is crucial to understanding the present-day complexities. The key agreements, the cornerstones of this water relationship, were signed in 1961 and 1962. These agreements laid out the terms for water supply between the two nations. These agreements were pivotal, giving Singapore the rights to draw up to 250 million gallons of raw water daily. This access was crucial for Singapore's development and growth. From Johor, the southern Malaysian state that borders Singapore, Johor's abundant water resources were essential to the agreement. At a price set in the 1960s, just 3 cents per thousand gallons, a price that in today's economic landscape seems almost unbelievably low. In return, Singapore had to sell a portion of treated water back to Johor, ensuring a reciprocal arrangement. This was a key component of the overall agreement, at a subsidized rate, further sweetening the deal for Malaysia at the time. This subsidy was intended to support Johor's water needs. These deals were structured to be long-lasting, meant to last 99 years, providing a stable framework for water management. Expiring in 2061, a date that looms large in discussions about the future of water relations between the two countries. When Singapore became independent in 1965, a pivotal moment in its history, the dynamics of the agreements shifted. The water agreements were elevated, becoming international treaties, solidifying their legal standing. Even registered with the UN, underscoring their importance on the global stage. Both sides had a window of opportunity, a chance to review prices after 25 years, to adjust the terms if needed. But Malaysia chose not to, a decision that would have long-lasting consequences. Fearing higher costs for treated water, a concern that ultimately shaped their decision-making process. That decision effectively locked in the old prices, freezing the economic terms for decades to come. A move Malaysian politicians now regret, as they reflect on the potential benefits of renegotiation. The agreements were fundamentally about survival for Singapore, ensuring a reliable water supply in a water-scarce environment, and convenience for Malaysia, which possessed abundant water resources at the time. But as time passed, and economic landscapes shifted, the perception of the agreements began to change. The cheap deal became a political sore point, a source of contention and public debate. The missed chance to renegotiate, to adapt the agreements to changing circumstances has haunted Malaysia ever since, becoming a persistent issue in their relationship with Singapore. The water agreements, once practical solutions to immediate needs, are now a source of tension and regret, a complex legacy of past decisions. What started as a simple trade, a straightforward exchange of resources, has become a diplomatic minefield, fraught with political sensitivities and historical grievances. And the clock is still ticking, counting down the years until the agreements expire. Toward 2061, a date that will undoubtedly reshape the water landscape of the region. The water issue between Malaysia and Singapore, though seemingly dormant at times, simmered quietly beneath the surface until the late 1990s. It was a dispute waiting to be reignited, a potential flashpoint in the often complex relationship between these two neighbors. The man who would once again bring it to the forefront was none other than Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, who reignited the debate with characteristic fervor. He openly criticized the existing water agreement, calling the 3 sen price per 1,000 gallons outdated, ridiculously low, and fundamentally unfair to Malaysia. Mahathir went further, framing the water price as not just an economic issue, but a matter of national dignity and sovereignty for Malaysia. It was about principle, not just profit. With unwavering resolve, Mahathir demanded a major and substantial price hike for the water supplied to Singapore, arguing that the existing rate was unsustainable and unjust. He even went so far as to suggest that Singapore should pay a price equivalent to the cost of producing its own recycled water, known as new water, a clear indication of the scale of increase he was seeking. Unsurprisingly, Singapore firmly refused to entertain such a drastic price increase. Their argument was that Malaysia had missed its contractual opportunity to review the terms of the deal back in the 1980s, and therefore the existing agreement should stand. Furthermore, Singapore revealed that it was actually losing money in the process. This was due to the fact that they were selling treated water back to Johor at a subsidized rate. This was in addition to the fact that Singapore had invested heavily in its own water infrastructure to ensure its water security. The intensity of the dispute eventually cooled down after Mahathir's retirement in 2003. However, the embers of disagreement were far from extinguished, and the issue flared up once again when he made a stunning return to power in 2018. Once more, with the same conviction as before, he publicly declared the water deal to be fundamentally unfair to Malaysia. But Singapore, unwavering in its position, stood firm on the existing agreements. Their stance was clear. International agreements, once signed, are non-negotiable and must be honored. The recurring water feud had transformed into a high-stakes standoff between the two nations. With neither side willing to back down or compromise, the situation reached a diplomatic impasse. For Malaysia, the issue is deeply rooted in a sense of national pride and the pursuit of what they perceive as fairness. For Singapore, it's fundamentally about survival as an island nation and upholding the principles of legal certainty and international agreements. The water agreement, therefore, represents far more than just a simple commercial contract for the exchange of resources. It has become a potent symbol of sovereignty, national identity, and the complex relationship dynamics between these two neighboring nations. And with so much at stake, neither side appears willing to blink first in this ongoing saga. For years, Malaysia argued over water prices, but now the strategy has shifted. In 2024, Malaysia announced it wouldn't seek a price review for now, because Singapore's treated water is still cheaper than producing it locally. The real shift is economic. Johor's booming industries, especially data centers, are driving water demand to new heights. 17 new data centers are set to double water consumption by 2030. Relying on Singapore's fixed supply is now a risk to Johor's economic future. Malaysia realized it needs control over its own treated water to fuel growth. The goal is no longer just a better price, it's self-sufficiency. By producing its own treated water, Johor can secure its industries and change the balance in future negotiations. The focus has moved from old grievances to future independence. Enter Malaysia's most ambitious water project yet. In 2025, Malaysia launched the Zero Dependency Project, a $1.1 billion plan to end Johor's reliance on Singapore's treated water by 2030. The plan built 3 massive reservoirs and 3 advanced treatment plants, boosting Johor's treated water capacity by 41%. These new facilities will add 890 million liters of treated water daily, enough for both people and industry. The timeline is tight, just 5 years to achieve full self-sufficiency. This is more than infrastructure, it's a declaration of intent. Malaysia is betting that water independence will secure its economic future and give it new leverage. If successful, the project will rewrite a century-old relationship. It's a high-stakes gamble, but Malaysia believes it's necessary. The era of dependence may soon be over. Building reservoirs and treatment plants sounds simple, but the challenges are huge. Experts warn the 5-year timeline is ambitious. Reservoirs alone can take 8 years to complete. Political instability could derail the project as Malaysia's government is prone to sudden changes. Even if built on time, soaring industrial demand could outpace supply, risking new shortages. The real test isn't just independence, but long-term sustainability. Corruption and mismanagement are risks for any billion-dollar project. Every step, from land acquisition to plant construction, must be flawless. Malaysia's ambition is clear, but execution will be the true test. The world is watching to see if Malaysia can deliver. If Malaysia achieves water independence, the balance of power with Singapore shifts. No longer reliant on Singapore's treated water, Malaysia could push harder for a better raw water price. Singapore's legal position remains strong, but Malaysia's bargaining power would grow. Still, any unilateral move could spark a diplomatic crisis. These agreements are tied to Singapore's very sovereignty. Even with new plants, Malaysia may want to keep Singapore as a backup during emergencies. The future could be less about dependence, more about strategic redundancy. Independence changes the game, but cooperation may still be wise. The relationship will evolve, not end. While Malaysia is just starting its water independence push, Singapore has been preparing for decades. Its 4 national tap strategy, local catchment, imported water, new water, and desalination, has made it a global water leader. Rainwater is collected across 2/3 of the island, while new water and desalination provide high-tech backup. Singapore's goal, by 2060, meet 85% of its needs without Johor's water. The country's relentless investment is a masterclass in long-term planning. For Singapore, water security is non-negotiable. Malaysia's move is no surprise. Singapore has been readying for this day for years. The city-state is determined never to be vulnerable again. This isn't just a story about pipes and prices, it's about ambition, pride, and survival. For Malaysia, the Zero Dependency Project is a leap towards sovereignty and economic power. For Singapore, it's validation of decades of innovation and planning. The outcome will reshape regional diplomacy and test both countries' ability to deliver on big promises. The water that once bound them in dependence may soon be just one of many issues between equals. This saga shows how a basic resource can drive history, politics, and national identity. As Malaysia pushes for independence and Singapore doubles down on resilience, water remains the barometer of their relationship. The quest for security and sovereignty is powerful and expensive. How this plays out will be a lesson in diplomacy, engineering, and the politics of control.